preparing to be a really good defense without him on it.
Yeah.
How does that help you now, if at all?
I mean, I think we've built that chemistry with each other. Obviously, the majority of the guys, with him not being here, like on the field with us now, the majority of guys that are here now was here last year. So we have that chemistry already built up. We already had a top 5 defense. So, like I said before, like we lost a great player and a very impactful player for our team and our defense. But at the same time, we got really good players as well. We got good depth, and we got guys that were already here that are also really good. So that's how I see that.
You mentioned the top 5 defense without him. What did you do so well last year that carries over to now?
Like as far as what?
You guys were successful, so I assume you're going to be successful again. Why? What connects the two, do you think?
Same players.
Okay.
The majority of the same. Like I think we might have lost like a couple guys, but I mean it's the same. It's really the same group of guys. Like the core guys, if you think about it, it's the same group of guys. So that's how I think it carries over. It's the same people. It's not like it's a whole different personnel or different people. It's all the same people. So.
On Sunday, you talked about how you might expect quarterbacks to hold the ball a little longer without Micah on the prowl. How do you make sure that when that's the case, that it ends up being good for your defense and that you maximize opportunities that come your way?
Well, I think the guys up front probably got something to say about that more than me, because I think that if teams are going to take that approach of okay, now we have a little bit more time, then I mean that's on them. That's how they feel. But I think that the pass rushers that we have are elite, and I think they can get to the quarterback fast. So if they decide not to, have the chippers and, do those little things, then I think our guys, that we have are very eager and ready to go and ready to prove, all the doubt is wrong.
I know you probably haven't done it in the past, but what do you think is the most difficult thing about playing a team twice in 13 days or whatever it is?
I mean, it's difficult to play a team twice in the regular season in general, or really just in general, really. But playing them twice in that short of a span can definitely be more difficult and challenging because obviously, like you said, like we've seen each other not too long ago, so we know kind of and we're already division opponents, so we know each other's tendencies, and we're just gonna have to get creative. I think both sides are gonna have to get creative. We're gonna have to be more creative, and I'm sure they're gonna be a little bit more creative too. So you got to kind of be ready for the unknowns, and that's kind of another challenge of it is like you don't want to go into the game thinking that okay, we saw them a week ago, they're gonna do the same thing. Nah, that ain't necessarily true. They might have some things that are the same, but they're gonna have some new things as well that we're gonna have to be. I'm not gonna say prepared for, but we're gonna have to have disciplined eyes and understand we got to trust our technique and whatever's being called.
It's almost like you got to block out that you just played it.
For sure. You cannot just go into the game thinking, they're gonna do exactly the same things that they did the other week. I don't think it's gonna work like that, and I think, they have smart enough coaches and smart enough players in the team to understand that, they can't just go in with the same mindset. Like I said, a lot of this stuff, it probably will be the same, but they're going to have a few here and there that, they might pull from different games that they've seen us play or different things that they've been wanting to run that they want to pull out. So I think, all things are on the table when it comes to this game.
You mentioned creativity. I remember talking to Andrew in the middle of August, and he was pretty bullish about what the blitz scheme could look like with him, with Quay. Mm-hmm. Then you get Micah, and you rush with 4 because that's what you do when you have Micah Parsons. Mm-hmm. How hard is it after spending an entire season rushing one way, playing defense one way, to go back to what you had originally planned to do at Week 16? Is it late in the season to make any wholesale changes? You kind of have to go with what you're doing, or do you have time to change the scheme to that level?
I think you got time to change the scheme. When you got smart guys in the room and guys that have been in the system, like I said, it's not like these guys are different guys coming from different areas or being under a different scheme. Like, they already played in the scheme, so everybody already understands, how we're going to rush the passer and kind of draw up different things, and we know what half wants to do, how he wants to do it. So I don't necessarily, think that you have to stick to one way. You could change things up because we have the guys to be able to do it, and they know, these guys know football. So I think at the end of the day, we got smart guys, and we got guys that can rush the passer. It's not just one guy that can rush the passer. So,
what did you learn about their run game the last time you played them? Because that one drive, they kind of were giving it to you, and it seemed like you were a little tired. What did you guys learn about what they can do, and how do you slow that down better?
We just can't give up leaky yardage. We got to tackle, and we got to be on our keys. But we know that they're probably going to have some tempo. They're going to move fast. We just got to be prepared and really just locked in. When you get tired, you got to really dig deep. And I think that's what this game is going to be all about. Like, it's going to be about digging deep. Everything is not going to be, easy. It's not going to be simple. Some drives might go longer than expected. It is what it is. It's a part of football. You just got to, continue to play harder. And when things get hard, when you get tired, you got to find a way to push through. And I think that's what we're going to do.
Xavier, do you like blitzing? I know at times, like in Detroit, you blitzed and Parsons dropped.
Mm-hmm.
You had a blitz against the Panthers. You forced a fumble.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you like? Is that a way you like to impact the game? And
I do.
Do you relish more opportunities there?
I do. I think, wherever I'm at on the field, whether that's blitzing, whether that's playing the deep part of the field, whether that's playing in a box, whether that's playing man-to-man, like, I think over my career, I've shown areas where I could do all of these things exceptionally well. So I think any way where I can get involved in the game and be that game record that I know myself to be, then it makes me happy and it's fun. So, yeah.
If Evan can't go, maybe you will, I don't know. But if you can't go, what's your comfort level with Zane or Bull or whoever you end up lining
I got
up
comfort
with?
level with all these guys. I have comfort level with everybody. It don't matter who I'm out there with. My job is always to make sure that everybody's prepared no matter who it is. And I've been saying this from the very beginning, because times like this happen. Like, sometimes you lose a guy, and sometimes you got to work with other guys. That's why, times in camp, OTAs, I get reps in with all these guys. I have relationships with all of them. So it makes it easier to go out there and play with different guys. So I think, I pride myself on that of making sure that I have a relationship with these guys, so that way, when these, type of situations do show up, then it's not just something where it's like, I got to figure out how to talk to. No, we already got that level of communication, and it makes it a lot easy for me, and it makes it easier for them as well to go out there and communicate and feel comfortable with playing whatever's called and just being wherever on the field.
You guys haven't seen a quarterback hold the ball on you like Caleb did all season. How is that different for you? Obviously, it's different when you're covered for 8-9 seconds.
Yeah.
How does it differ on the back end? What do you do differently in coverage when it is an extended play like that?
You got to plaster. You got to find a body, and you got to stay on them until the whistle blows. And it could be, it could be challenging at times because then, like I said, it's off-schedule stuff. So you don't know where they're running. You don't know what's going to happen. But you got to find a guy. You got to plaster, and just got to survive whatever down or try to make a play. So it could be tough, but it's a part of the game when you're playing a quarterback, that can use his legs, that's mobile, that can extend plays. You got to be able to do that as a DB and really as a defense. You got to be able to master that. And I think, we're going to be challenged again with that, with playing Caleb, because we know it's going to happen throughout the game. So we don't know when, but we know it's going to happen, so we got to be prepared when it shows up.
Is this where leadership shows up and why it matters, moments like this?
For sure.
Parsons going down adversity.
Yeah, for sure. Adverse moments. That's what it is. Anytime you have an adverse moment, you always want your leaders to be able to step up and provide that extra of whatever it is that you need. So I think that is super important. Really, not just now, just in general. Like, it don't really, to me, I never think, really heightens because you always want to be a leader regardless of whatever the situation is. So for me, I'm doing the same thing I did before the injuries, like it's the same. You know, if you're a leader, you're a leader, and it's only one way. It's no, oh, well, if this happened, now I got to do the extra. Nah, if I'm a leader, I'm a leader, and that's just what it is. So yeah.
Speaking of that, speaking of the standard that you have, were you disappointed that you didn't hold on to the potential interceptions you had? I think one of them is shortly before Micah gets hurt. What was that kind of like to work through, and how does that? I know you're always motivated.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Is that a little bit extra after that kind of a game?
Extra because I dropped it.
Because
maybe.
you're too good to be dropping
For
stuff like that.
For sure. But it happens, and I don't dwell on those type of things because that wasn't the first pick that I've dropped in my career. You know, there's ones that I wish I could get back, but I can't. So it is what it is. I just keep working and keep, you know, when those moments do show up, making, you know, capitalize on them opportunities because I know how important they are. So that's all I kind of think about. In the moment, I wasn't really thinking about, I try to pick everybody. I wasn't thinking about that. It's just I got to keep playing. So yeah, that's how I think about it. Yeah.
One more question. You and the Bears have kind of been going back and forth atop the NFC North. Is there a little extra motivation going into the stadium to prove that you guys deserve being at the top?
Yeah, I guess because it's the Bears. So obviously that rivalry is there, and you know it's tense. Like, you know, it's smoke for us and it's smoke for them. So I think we both like have that understanding as teams and organizations that, you know, it's always going to be a clash. So we're trying to get that top spot. They're trying to get the top spot, and it's just going to be about, you know, who's going to go out there and compete the hardest, and who's going to do their job the best. And I think that's all it's going to come down to.